I asked y'all this yesterday. Who owns this pen?
I do.
I do. You go to the national finals. Where's Tyler? Who owns the pen? He's gonna walk in there on it, I promise you. But that's something that you learn. I mean, look, you don't get up in the morning and somebody, you learn that. You learn how to be a winner. You know, a lot of guys never learn that. You know, one thing Oak is, and I love him being here with us, he knows how to win. You know, that's a big thing for us. I mean, we can come out here and show you all the mechanics, and we can show you the technique that we do and all that stuff, but it's got to be something deep down in your heart that makes you a winner. I told Roy Duvall brought some steers over here a couple of years ago. We were sitting on the back of the tailgate and talking. Probably one of the best discussions I ever had about winning. And one of the things I told him though, I said, look, I put on a lot of schools. And I said, I wish I could bottle up one little old bit of drop of what you got inside you that makes you who you are. One little old drop of that and put it on every kid that comes through this school. I mean, O will tell you, I'll let him tell you, but how, won't you tell him a story about how he could mess one up or whatever you tell him that, and then what his attitude was going to the next one.
And I learned more traveling with Roy than anybody I ever went with, but he never told me anything. I learned through his actions, and I've seen Roy Duvall throw a steer in 2.9 one year. Seen him throw 1,000,000 of them in 3, 4, 5, 6. Every run looked identical. That 2.9 run looked just like a 6-second run he made. He made the same moves, motion, and love Roy to death. His mechanics are a lot different than what we're teaching, but he was self-taught. He started by jumping cows out in the pasture, literally cows, and learned what worked for him. And he was strong and he developed his own style. But what made Roy a winner is if he was 2.9 or if he was 12.9 on a steer that everybody else had been 3 on, you didn't know it. Before, during, after. If he win first at a rodeo or if he just messed the best steer on him up, 5 minutes later, I mean, he didn't mope, he didn't keep his head down. Roy's attitude was he could not wait to get to the next place to run the next steer. Win, lose, draw, he loved it. He still loves it to this day. And his attitude was, I can't wait to run another one. If I'm winning, my attitude is, I can't wait to get to another one. I'm gonna win first I'm gonna win. And if he messed one up, he said, that run's over. You leave it behind you. That you take it out on that next steer. If I'm down, I'm going to use my aggression on that next steer instead of bringing the people around me down. I'm going to take it out on that next steer. He literally could not wait to run his next steer. Whether it was all the years rodeoing, practicing, there's nobody loved steer wrestling more than that man did. And his attitude was, and I asked him, I said, don't that, it would eat me up. It would just, if I messed a steer up that everybody, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I said, Roy, how could, I waited one time. I didn't wait, I waited long enough. Doesn't that bother you? He said, yeah, heck yeah, it bothers the heck out of me, he said. But he said, I can't change it now. He said, we can't turn back the time. He said, I can store it right here. And he said, that next son of a gun's had it. He said, that next steer I run. He said, and that's the way to look at it. You can't go back. You can't get mad. It doesn't do you any good. You can't change what has already happened. But you can change what will happen on that next run. And I mean, that's one thing I learned from him, and it still worked on me a little different than him. I mean, it's hard for me to hide my emotions. So my deal was, I'd wait till we'd get out of town. I didn't want to throw a fit. I didn't want nobody to see me. we'd head out of town and be out in the middle of the country, and I'd roll my window down and yell an obscenity as loud as I could out the window, and I'd roll the window up. Now it's behind
it there.
It's gone. And that tickled that man more than anything. We'd go down, we'd leave a rodeo, and
He was waiting on it.
he was waiting on it. I'd roll that window down, and he'd start laughing when I went to rolling my window down. And like I said, I'd hang halfway out, holler as loud as I could. But to me, that was my way of dealing with it. I didn't want people to see me doing that. I didn't want to, you know. So I'd wait and get off by myself and do that, and then it was done. It was behind me, and I mean, that's how I learned through him to try to do things like him. And that was my way of dealing with it, and just, you know, something I could kind of, you know, let some energy off and blow some steam, but without people, you know, seeing me show my hind end, and that's what worked for me. But I learned that through him, you know. And I don't know how many times he told me, you can't go back and change something. And how many of us, we've all run steers and messed them up, or had, you know, done something, and when we was done, was so mad, thought, you know, run him back in here, I know I can throw him this time, or I know I can get out of the barrier, you know. So use that energy and use that to do it the first time, you know. You get one chance.